Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Evolution 2026, our wonderful growth summit. Today, I'm in a little bit less words than normally because I'm very humbled by my teammate Dinka's post and all of your love this morning when I woke up. And this community is super special, and every day this event really creates more. I'm happy to see new members like Benjamin. Welcome, Christian. It's awesome to see you here, Mark. Our favorite special panel and our special guest today. Stacey, I'm super, super happy and welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Well deserved, Brandon. The way you show up in the world is something to behold. It is a boundless, very loving, very authentic energy. It's felt, it's appreciated, and I hope you just bask in all of that love because you get back what you put out, and what you put out is really beautiful, friend. Like really, really beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course.
I
Hey,
see you. Yeah.
yes. And Dinka, your message is so beautiful, so you, such a nice reflection. It's such a joy to have that public discourse of friendship and partnership. And there's like a little bit of getting a view into just like inside, jokes and community between you and what you're doing together in the world. It's just such an incredible place to be able to see stuff like that. I think in times past, like that just lived in quiet moments between people, and that's beautiful and it still exists, but it's also quite nice to have such easy access and ability to say, I love this person and I want this person to feel the love of all the people that I know already know them. And I
Yeah.
think it's just awesome. Really, really cool.
I think it feels good both sides. It feels good to appreciate someone, and it definitely feels good to be appreciated. And what is community for if not for that?
Hey,
Nuts and bolts, that's what it's all about. Stacey, it's funny because I've been in your community now for a while, but how I met you was when we all started this madness that you now see, and we were kind of like collecting our tribes and people were vibing towards us. Tinka messaged me and goes, we got this lady for the summit. Her name is Stacey Coley, and she's amazing. She's like my sister. You need to meet her. I instantly vibed with her. And I went to your community and I was like, oh, yeah. But now that I meet you, if you don't have a podcast, you need one. And I think I want videos of you. I think I want your voice like at night before bed.
Yeah, you're like the female Morgan Freeman or something.
Yes, yes.
Like,
This is the best way to put it. So for those of us, and I'm just getting to meet you in person, and it's wonderful. Who is Stacey Coley?
well, I don't know yet. We'll have to figure that out together. Yeah, I mean, I think that all of our journeys have this beautiful tapestry of experiences and things that we thought were our intentions and where we landed up and what we did and then what we did next. It's all just this beautiful adventure. And so I think I think in explaining who I am, it always feels a little odd because I think my primary response would be to say, I don't know. I don't know. Just figuring it out. I think there are things that touch me and impress me and make me feel called to certain work in the world that I've been on an interesting adventure with, particularly the last several months. And so maybe I'll dive in there. And that'll probably offer a pretty good flavor about what I've been up to, which is probably a place I'm more comfortable articulating because I don't really know yet. I feel like none of us do. Every day we're a little bit of something new, and I have deep and profound respect for the embodiment of don't know mind, and I think this is really, really important. So the last several months have been a really major pivot in my life. I had what I think I would call a pretty normal experience. Just being born into privilege in the United States. I'm a person whose skin color is very acceptable, sort of wherever I go and whatever I'm doing. So I was afforded great privilege in that regard. I also was born into a family that had means to provide everything we needed and most of what we wanted also. And so, in many respects, quite spoiled as a young person. I was born in the United States on the East Coast. I've lived on the East Coast of the United States my whole life. I've traveled a lot, but well, maybe not compared to some of my new friends, but I would say I've done a fair share of travel, mostly through my corporate career. But was born in the Eastern US and grew up there in Baltimore. Grew up close to Baltimore City, and so saw a lot of the differences in people's lives and experiences. Baltimore is a very beautiful place, a city in Maryland. It's also very oppressed for certain people, particularly people who face intersectionality. And so I grew up with an appreciation of the differences in life experience based on what we look like. And that was really kind of a quandary to me because my family was Jewish. And so I was no stranger to anti-Semitism or the way our heritage unfolded. And so I had a little bit of a, a little bit of a maybe crisis when I was probably in high school about just trying to understand where racism and bigotry and prejudices come from. And really felt a strong desire even then to do work in the world that would help to diminish fear, which I saw as a major driver for anything that keeps us isolated or exclusionary in our thinking or our behavior. And so that became very important to me then. I I went on to study at a university in Delaware, and that's actually where I live. So I went to university in Delaware, and I studied mass communication systems and philosophy and Spanish, and really just had a social experiment for a number of years. I don't know that I took away a whole lot, which feels like a crime and a shame, but I enjoyed learning and realized how voracious a learner I was, and really appreciated the opportunity to decide how to invent myself over and over again through those years. And I think it came from a space of pain to some extent. I had some experiences when I was younger that were very abusive. And so physical and emotional abuse was a part of the fabric of who I was. And I think in some respects, I was running from that and trying to avoid doing some of that deep work that was very scary for me. And I didn't really have influences at the time to even explain what deep work was, what it meant, or how to go about it. And so I did what many of us do, which was sort of act it out. And I was kind of a bad kid. And, I did all the things we do when we're trying to cope with pain that we don't really understand. Um, and then I started working. I actually was working in public television and some independent film stuff. Um, I wanted to teach people through entertainment. It was something that I was really passionate about. And I learned pretty quickly that uh, the ego side of me was too easily attached to attention. And it brought out things in me that I didn't like, that I didn't respect, that felt very much not like me in my core, but the me that I tried to step into and zip up to I don't know, be cool or be accepted in the world. And so I kind of pivoted away from that space because I found it to be unhealthy and very heavy. So I started working at a temporary job in a bank because I decided I would go after the most egregious and terrible industries on the planet and try to just shine like light in the void. So I started with financial services and I ended up having just an amazing and beautiful career in financial services in a top 10 Fortune 10 organization in the US. It was JP Morgan Chase. I was there for 16 years. And most of that time, the work that I did was very much focused on two things: helping people to really understand why it's important that they show up with their full and authentic abundance, and to change policies that helped to make opportunity more available to people. And I had a really incredible experience of doing that work, both here in the US, but also abroad. And so had a lot of opportunity to work with companies and organizations and vendors and suppliers that were largely in Asia Pacific regions. And it was an amazing career. And by that time, I had met my husband, Sean. We have now been married 20 some odd years. I'm terrible with like dates. I never remember. 25 years, something like that. And we had met by then, and we had started our family, which was just an amazing blessing. We now have 3 teenagers. But at the time, our daughters were very young, 4 and 2 respectively, and I was also pregnant. And my dad was very sick. He had pancreatic cancer, and he was dying in Baltimore. And we were living in Delaware, so about hour and a half distance. And I was traveling back and forth pretty much every other day to help to care for my dad with my mom. And my father and I were very, very close. He was my favorite person in the whole wide world. And I was having kind of a devastating experience of this. And so when my father died and Henry was born, our son, who's also named for my father was Henry, and Henry is Henry. I really collapsed. I sort of fell apart, and I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was very ill. I thought everything had just been too much, and maybe I developed some kind of disease. And I thought I was really physically very ill. But what it really amounted to was that I was having a mental and emotional collapse, like fully and completely. And Henry at the time was still a newborn. He was born about a month and a half early, so he was in the NICU for a while. And my dad had just died about a month and a half or so earlier, and so it was a really difficult time. It was the time that I made the decision to shift away from the work I was doing at JP Morgan Chase. It's how I shifted from finance to healthcare. And so I knew about this healthcare organization because I had a couple of prior colleagues and actually a prior boss that had shifted also. And we had some conversation, and I said, okay, I think it's time to take like a great big giant step back and do something different, do something new where I can work on kind of coming back to a place of stability. And that in and of itself was a difficult journey because I was struggling with panic disorder and with pretty significant depression. And I was not a stranger to depression. As I'd mentioned, some of the difficult experiences in my formative years, they were just like rearing heads. Like they were always there, never well attended to. And so they sort of made a grand entry or reappearance then. And I've never been a person that's been really fond of medications. So I was willing to try. I tried some medication, and it didn't go well for me. No shade to anybody that does find success with medication. I think that can be extremely important and helpful. For me, that wasn't a way back. And I was quite lost actually at that time. And this was when I started really going back to study Eastern philosophy, mindfulness, meditation, breath work. Sean and I actually met training in martial arts and had trained and taught together for many years. And I realized at that time that for all of the Qigong work I'd done, for all of the meditation, all of the breathing, I was going through the motions then. And I really went back to it with renewed focus and a different lens, and became dependent for a period of time on becoming very mindful and present to manage functioning day to day. And even, to be honest, reestablishing my will to live, because that had completely escaped me. Um, and so this is when I really started to study the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh, and I became, oh, thanks, Mark. I became deeply connected to the Plum Village Monastery online in France, and learned through Dharma teaching how to establish a foundation of mindfulness in practice. And I found a local sangha, and I started to really um, find wellness, starting like bottom up. And so this is where meditation practice and mindfulness really became central in my life. And I will always say, Sean, Thich Nhat Hanh, and my higher self literally saved my life in that period of time. So I went on to spend the next decade or so in healthcare, and had, again, incredible experiences meeting phenomenal people all over the world, growing the organizations that I had responsibility for, and enabling change in policy that would help to improve what is an absolutely stunningly broken system in the United States. And to kind of put it to a finer point, or land the plane on this very long answer, um, when I got to the point where I no longer felt I could do good in the world, and that I was still a part of a body of work that made me feel aligned to my sense of purpose and my morals and my ethics. When I lost the ability to feel that way there anymore, I made the decision to leave. And that was just in October of 2025. And so it was a very difficult decision, but also a very liberating one. And I went really from that space to this one very quickly. And I have never been a social media person, and didn't even really do like the Facebook, Instagram thing. Um, I did have a LinkedIn. I do have a LinkedIn. I've had it forever. It was almost like you kind of had to if you were serving in some of the capacities that I had opportunity to in that corporate space. But Skool was very new for me. I really wanted to find a place where I could fling the doors open and offer these decades of experience and guidance, which was always the favorite part of what I did in a corporate environment, full time and to the world. And so after doing some research, it was like the only place that really struck me as having the ability to do all the things that we can do here. And so I was very impressed by Skool. I had a dear friend who mentioned to me this platform, because I was like, hey, I'm doing some research. What do you think? And he said, oh, there's only one place where you can do what you want to do, and this is it. And so I jumped in here and opened the human practice. It was also kind of a growing desire for some time prior. And so um, prepared the LLC and opened that, and then really grounded here in Skool. I still don't have much an idea of what I'm doing, other than enjoying meeting so many people. I think in the last few months, I've met some of the most incredible people I've known in my life, and I'm thrilled to spend the back half together. I'm 51, so I think about that as the back half. I think that's going to be just amazing and enriching. And I'll stop there, because that's so much boring history. I know no one's going to write a book, but that is kind of thanks, Mark. That's kind of how we got to where we are. Yeah.
There was
Wow.
nothing boring about that.
There's
by the
nothing boring
way.
about that. I don't know what you like to ask questions about. Normally, I have like, oh, this is what I want to know. With you, I was like, I want to know so much. No, but I really resonated in with one thing you said is I was the same way as you, full of vulnerability with medications, where I was on a lot of stuff. My childhood was a little traumatic, and I was on a lot of stuff over the years I never ever. Like, I would always get all the side effects, everything. So when you were talking about that, I was like, oh man, I know how that feels. And when you start to figure it out from like food, and you're like, oh wait, I don't need a pill to do this anyway. I can do it myself. And that part of your story, really, I was like, oh, I know that. So yeah, that was awesome. And
Yeah.
wow, thanks for sharing. Wow. Dinka, any questions?
I mean, I just mentioned this on the comments that you could just read the phone book, Stacey, and I could listen to it, so it doesn't
Yes.
matter. But I'm very curious about because you are someone with so much intention that just oozes out of your being, and I'm very, very curious what your intention is for your Skool community, and how do you see that growing, or where are you taking that?
Yeah, thank you, Dinka. Brendan, I want to just go back for a second because I heard you talk about traumatic childhood. And that's really hard stuff. So I don't want that to pass by without acknowledging and telling you. In my heart, I'm just going back in time and just giving you a hug in one of those moments where maybe you felt alone, not well supported, fearful. That is really important. And I appreciate you sharing. Also, yeah, my heart's going back to that little Brandon and giving you a hug. And also, I'd say, of course, all of those things are so relevant. You know, they help every ounce of it brings us to where you are right now. And the man that we get to enjoy is a product of every single thing. And so um, I just wanted to spend a moment there. And so,
Appreciate that.
yeah, Dinka, there are two things I really want to do with the human practice. They're my most favorite parts of all of the years of mentoring and helping people and organizations develop from a human perspective. And they are about cultivating inner peace and building professional competence. Those are kind of what I boiled down to the two most critical anchors that help us to love and learn. And I think that's why we show up. I think that's the whole point of coming here into these lifetimes and doing the things that we're doing is exclusively to learn and love. And so when I think about cultivating inner peace in this space, it really just began with talking about a vision of people feeling empowered to step into their full authentic selves and know their abundance and align to their sense of personal purpose. Step into their full authentic selves, understand their abundance, and align to their personal purpose. And so, cultivation of inner peace is a requirement that's often skipped. It's like the foundation never being fortified. Like if we think back in history, I love to like check out the World's Fairs, you know, and the history of the World's Fair. And sometimes it was like paper mache and then like amusement rides on top of it, you know, and when the foundation is weak, things collapse and that happens. And it happens for us in our individual journeys very often, where we can go for and aspire to and achieve greatness by many standards. I've spent a lot of time mentoring, not only serving as, but mentoring senior executives, like highest echelon of corporate achievement. And in many, many cases, more than most people expect, the foundation is so weak. It is so full of fear and coping strategies and mechanisms that there is just, thank you, Mark, there's just this absence of presence with oneself. And then all of this gigantic weight built on top of it. And so part of cultivation of inner peace was important because these are people. I was a person also with tremendous power and authority. And when you aren't coming from a space of knowingness of yourself, your purpose in the world as a human being, it's difficult to cultivate care and the kinds of decisions that are not guided solely by financial gain, but by the much, much more abundant richness of improving humanity. And so a lot of that work that I did in the corporate world was to try to facilitate a stronger sense of responsibility in places where people had power and authority to really leverage it for good. Leaving that space, I wanted the Skool community to be able to help people from all walks of life at every level of all the things we're doing to really understand how incredibly beautiful and perfect and abundant and ready and capable they are, because we all are, all of us, every single one of us. And the saying, the comparison is the thief of joy. We do this all the time. We look around and we say, if I could only be like that, if I could only do this. And there's something absolutely beautiful about every person. There's something so special. I love this thing when people say like, well, just be yourself. That's really hard. There's no just about it. Being yourself is the most incredible thing you can do. But you have to be able to come from a space of inviting in all the versions of yourself and sitting them down and saying like, let's have tea. Like, you're a bitch and I fucking hate when you show up. And I really enjoy that part of me. And so come and sit right here next to me. We have to be able to do that. And so I really felt joyful at the opportunity to do it in a different space where anyone and everyone can come and say, well, here's the meditation of my mind and my heart, and what do I do with that? So when we've cultivated a sense of our responsibility in the world and what we bring to it, then we can work on competence, and we can work on that in alignment with whatever it is we aspire to do in the world. And so for me, I'm a peace builder. So I want to get to the conflict. I want to understand what's wrong. I want the data. I want the influences. And then I want to build the bridges and figure out how to find common ground and get to a place of productivity and harmony. Other people want to understand how best to do what speaks to them, whether it's working with technology, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's, whatever the case may be. There are some core competencies that are transferable and critical everywhere. We'll use one example here. Let's just call it presence. The way we show up. Well, we're not usually taught how to be aware of and manage our presence, but it can be elusive to understand when we have opportunity with presence. It can sound like a lot of things. It can sound like, well, people don't really rally around you. Your community isn't growing. Maybe it can sound like, can you command a space? Can you drive people to action? These are all ways to talk about our presence, and how we cultivate peace has direct implication on how we develop our presence. And so this combination of cultivating inner peace and developing professional competence is my way in the Skool community of co-creating a space where we can improve our health, improve our wealth, improve our relationships, right? Like the big three. That's what I want to do. The hard part is because I spent so many years teaching the work of like Robert Cialdini around influence and persuasion and so on. And I've done a lot of work around sales, marketing, blah, blah, blah. Like the whole pitchiness of this space in Skool nearly drove me away from it. Just this constant, like, authentic connection, but for the ultimate sake of, can I sell you to my premium thing? Do you want to download some content? Do you want to become a VIP member? All these aspects of entrepreneurial offers and conversions and so on. I was already pretty fed up with that stuff leaving the corporate space. And so to come here and see and feel so much of it was challenging for me. And I made a decision that I will always call out pitches when they're done poorly. I will also never make them. So there is no promotion of anything in my own community that is couched any other way than to say, there's a premium tier, there's a VIP, you can come and like get more goodies if you want to. And there's not a whole lot else that I'm doing relative to that. And that may prove to be a mistake, and I might have to really reconcile what that looks like in the community. But for now, it's really just about that. helping people to come and cultivate inner peace and develop professional competence. The best way that people are able to do that is probably working with me directly, because we can do a lot in the community space, which is amazing. And I try to tailor the content week over week to get there, but it barely scratches the surface as compared to like a mentoring relationship. Um, and that's where all of the unknowns continue to emerge. Like all of the don't know mind comes in. What will this be over time? I'm not sure. Can I stay and support my family? I don't know. I think I have some really serious conflicts inside of my heart and mind as it relates to what needs to be done for this to become a full-time like livelihood. And I may just not be willing to do that. So that's kind of a quandary for me right now. But in the meantime, I can already say with confidence, lives have been changed for the better. People are making connections, not just with me from a direct mentoring perspective, but with one another. And that's been pretty incredible. So we'll see. I'm not sure what the rest of it will hold.
Yeah, I'm sure that lives have been changed, and I know for a fact that the connections that people are finding are also going to last, because you attracted a pool of individuals in that little beautiful container of yours who actually care and they want to show up and they're there for each other. And this is again the universe, being this beautiful mirror of what you put out there comes back to you. And your community is a prime example of that. And I enjoy interacting there very much. It's one of my favorite places on Skool. So thank you for creating that little bundle of sunshine here on Skool.
Dinka, thank you for saying that. Very kind words. I literally sit and cry. Like I read comments and the interactions between people and I'm like moved to tears. I'm like, how can this place be real? Like this is just incredible. I do find I really struggle to get out of my own community, and like there are places and people that I love, I so deeply respect and admire and learn from, and I feel like I can't crack the nut yet on how to make enough time. Like when I see you show up and I know how busy you are, and Brandon, same for you, I'm like stunned. I'm like, how's this happening? And I even got a little bit overly attached. I was still running some programs and patterns from my old corporate world. Dinka, I know you know this because we talked about it a little bit together. I think I said to you I had to intentionally like lose my flame so that I could break this unhealthy attachment to like status symbols here and like
Performance.
and like it became like
Yeah.
performative. I was so disappointed in myself because I was like, you've left all of that behind, and then I was like, wait a second, no you didn't, shithead, you're still like doing the same. You're still like looking at that thing every day. And so I really don't know how this is done in a way that enables both like full presence in your space, which you do so beautifully here and in the Trinity Code. And also you're still really present and weighing in and contributing. So I probably need some pro tips because I'm really not doing a great job with that.
I'm really happy that you see that from the outside, because I have obviously my little demons, and I have a very different view on how I show up and what is enough and what is not enough. And
Right.
that's just the human experience.
Very good.
But I do know that you are a serial carer, and then you respond to every single comment and you like every single post, and you don't just say, oh hey thanks, or send a gift, or sometimes you do, but you really put like a small book as a response to some of the comments and interactions. So obviously that takes a lot of time, and your community is growing also. Like you have about what, 300 or where you guys are, something like that.
I don't remember.
In the hundreds for sure.
I
Yeah.
think it's like 230s. And it's interesting because I've actually really been contemplating going back out and just checking in with the entire member base in the human practice and sort of saying, if you're just here checking it out and like it's adding value, stay. Like that's amazing. I'm totally fine with people being quiet. And actually, I have a couple of clients from a mentoring perspective who are part of the community but never post or say a word. Totally fine with that. But there are also many people I know that are in the community, but they're not really there for the community. They're there for um, observation, which I'm also totally fine with, and hope they steal shamelessly if they're doing good work in the world and feel called to, then take and use anything you like and make it your own. But there
I'm
are,
so
yeah, thank
I've
you.
stolen from you. I have.
Oh,
Uh,
please feel free.
one of the things I absolutely love, and I actually tell every owner I come across this now, is I'm in your community. The minute I met you and you were part of the summit, I'm gonna support the people in the summit. I can't be everywhere all the time, and there's a lot of summit people, so I'm limited, right? I didn't even think I was showing up in your community that much
Oh,
until every Friday or Monday. I don't know. My days meld in. Every week, your husband reaches out with this little certificate that tells me thank you in my DMs for being supportive of this community. And I will tell you, every moment I've needed it, I click my messages and I'm like, oh. And then I go do something like good because now I'm feeling lifted up. So keep that up. I
love it.
tell people that all the time, like those little things of, hey, a human practice, right? We're all humans. Thanks for your uh thanks for your part in that. Oh man, that's gold.
Oh, Brandon, thank you for
And
saying so.
as a human practice member, I have a request after this almost an hour of talking to you. I want some affirmations in your classroom. I want to click play every night and listen to your voice. You are wonderful. You are beautiful. You are meant for this world. Man, I want to listen to your
Mm,
voice. Give us some affirmations.
you got it. You got it.
But not to interrupt you, but one more point is
Mm,
you touched on something, and I don't even know if you tried to, but I firmly believe every great community starts with a foundation of being that person that starts it. And
mm,
then all the rock star members in that top 10 all time leaderboard sprinkle theirness on the community and make it what it is. Dinka Salvador is Trinity Code. You are human practice. Mark Lawrence is a peaceful path. I'm Better Brain Project. Uh, Melissa Parteka, she is the blueprint method. You look at her and that's what it is. But then all the members make it what it really is. And
yeah.
I think just the way you talked about how you do things with your members said that beautifully.
Thank
You
you for that.
are human practice and you live that every day. With what you said to me after I just mentioned the word childhood trauma, you didn't know nothing. And what you said to me, that's what your community is. I see it every time I'm in there. So
Mm,
you are human practice, and then human practice becomes pieces of Stacy, and they give pieces of them, and that's what makes it beautiful. And so just keep that up because you're gonna figure the Skool journey out. Well, you're doing it, you're living it, and I love that. I really
Thank
do.
you, Brandon. Thank you so much. Those are very kind and wonderful words. I will give a shout out to Samantha from the Crap Academy because she
Mhm.
was the first person who sent me a certificate. And it was like well done with dumbassery or something awesome like that. And I was like, that's amazing. And so
That's right.
it was actually Sam that I was like, okay, I think this is a really cool idea. Um, so yeah, we just take good stuff and we pass it around and we share it and it's wonderful. So thank you for calling that out. I'm glad. And
Well,
it's
I
interesting.
also believe
Yeah.
sorry,
No,
I also
please,
believe
please.
that school really and I started out like this, your offer thing, oh man, I put hundreds of offers out. Do you know what changed? I went through a little period too and then came back and started showing up as me. Now people just they go, "Yeah, I want some of that energy," right? And that's what
That's
people like you.
right.
You don't have to push it, you don't have to sell much, and I made so many mistakes
Yeah.
with that realm. That school really used to be a coach starts a community, they have a lead pool, they go out to other communities and attract people to their lead pool, and everybody's like, "This is my lead pool." We are dipping that on its head and saying, "No, we are a skill sharing hub. I want to know everything Stacy knows, I want to know everything Dinka knows, and so forth. Everybody on this call. And when I know everything you guys know, I'm better for it." So,
Yes.
no, this is my pot of gold.
Yes.
Come. I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Hey, you just touched on something so important, Brandon. I think that there's a profound shift in currency. Human currency has changed. It used to be that thing. It used to be what I hold in my mind, what I have mastery of is my value proposition. And now it's how well I adapt, how well I learn, how much I share. That collaboration is the key not only to our resilience as individuals, but to the world that we have to build now. And so I think you just touched on something so important. And I saw Mark agree also, right? This is what it is. It's not about holding tight to what sits in your brain because it makes you critical. It actually makes you irrelevant. And, people that are afraid of change really tend to like, this is what I know, this is what I do. Like, if you don't like change, you're going to like irrelevance a whole lot less. So that's like not my quote. I've heard it somewhere. I don't know where it came from originally, but it's true. And so I think that shift in currency is really important. Um, and it takes practice. Like it takes mm, some positive reinforcement to be comfortable that, oh, it's okay. It's okay for my ideas to be shared, my thoughts, my experience. No one's going to hurt me on account of that. It's actually going to be better for me and everyone else. And so I think that's a uh, really cool evolution of what we're doing. Yeah. So what are you guys thinking about the summit, and when it's done, what does it become? Apart from what's already happening, how do
Well,
you see those ripples?
I think it's already rippling. I'm not even gonna lie. In all my auto DMs in the last week, 75% of them, how do I sign up for your podcast? How do I sign up for the summit? How can I become a guest? So I used to do this group by myself where I talked about like the 5 pillars that we focus on for a
Mhm.
foundational lifestyle. And then I was like, you know what? Every Wednesday, live group. Why don't we just make it podcast style, summit style, where I bring a guest on? And I have like 9 Wednesdays in a row booked now. So I'm like,
Nice.
Ripple is just, I'm going to bring guests on for live groups here once a week. And I think we go into more group aspects of collabing, skill sharing, working together, featuring each other. I'm kind of doing that with a little focus group of builders. We're all going to level up our
Love that.
communities in 4 weeks. And I think that turns into maybe a foundation's premium club or something where we
Yes.
all get together weekly. And so, yeah, there's seeds in the stars, and we're kind of riding the energy. I used to
Yeah.
see a lot, force things, tornado, and now I have a storm chaser that goes, hold on, goes a little bit. And since that's been happening, there's been this synergy, and Jinka's been using this word since it started. And I feel like every step that happens, the universe is just putting something there, and I open the door.
Yeah.
And that it's been amazing. I don't have to force things or manufacture things or make this work I can just sit back and let the guests connect with us every day. Every guest, it's like new connections, new networking.
Yeah.
Their community grows, our community grows a buzz. So the whole Dinka said when we did for all the speakers, Dinka said, all the boats will rise with the tides. And that's what's happening. And
Yeah.
it's really cool. And so plan, but don't plan and ride the energy is kind of, and I feel like every next move has just been presenting itself. And
Yeah.
that's been awesome. As I spent a year and a half trying to make the next moves happen. And so learning those lessons and bringing those lessons into just, hey, be you, be authentic, go connect with people and let it happen.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. What do you think, Dinka? What's your vision?
Yeah, it's so beautiful how there was an intention or like an idea or a curiosity even like, hey, let's do like a summit. And then somehow it was like, yeah, let's do it like every single day in January. And I was like, are we crazy or something? And then we were booked in 3 days. Like we had 31, well, actually 32 speakers because there was an error. And then so there was double trouble on the 8th with Row. So, it just all came together so quickly that I felt like, okay, so this is a green light because otherwise, we would have
Mm.
struggled.
Mhm.
And then we went into it just with this kind of knowing and curiosity, like, we don't need to have like everything scheduled, and we want to give the stage to the speakers and allow them to bring in their magic and lead the conversation. And sure, we will have questions and the community will have questions. Never once we ran out of topics. It's
Yeah.
usually the other way around. It's like, oh shoot, oh, it's been an hour already. We almost have to wrap up. So
Yeah.
and every single speaker had some amazing story that someone can relate to. There were like live, connections being made. Like in the first call, I remember Mark was so connected to Gabby because of what she shared, and it happened multiple times. This is not just a one-off thing. So if it's only for that,
Yes.
it's already worth it. And
Yes.
I know that this is bigger than that. So I think maybe not on purpose or not like premeditated, but we definitely started something that is out or about to change the culture on Skool.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
as Brandon was saying, it's not about, oh no, these are my members and go away and don't talk to them. It's more about we all grow together. We all have some value to share. We all have something to learn from each other, and just let it flow, like now it's so fun. There are so many communities that I show up and it's like, hey, this and this and this is here. And it's like, it's like
Super fun.
familiar. So
Yes.
and it makes it so much more fun, and it's easier to start to interact in the new community when you already have like 5 people like yo, so
Yeah.
I think it's opening doors, and it's creating a trend, hopefully, because this is something that I would love for any other community to copy and to steal, quote unquote. Please do, because just the connections and just the inspiration that comes out of this, like something that Lorena said, that she does this practice before she goes to sleep, that she hugs herself and she tells herself, I love you. I started that like doing that like the next day, because I was like, this is a small thing that costs literally nothing, and it's such an important practice, to love yourself and to say that and to make conscious effort and set aside time. And so, it's like all these little bits and pieces and little diamonds that you just pick and choose from each call. It's been incredible. Yeah. And
Yeah.
we're not even halfway,
Not to
Great.
hijack your call, but the summit birth story is really crazy because we had a guest series that we've done for almost like we had a bunch of guests. We did guests for almost a year, once a month, and like here and there, and it was awesome. People loved it. It usually our best calls. And for January, I reached out to Brendan Thompson from Recreate, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to be our guest in January?" And he goes, "Yeah, that would be awesome. We should start January off with a bang and really do it big." I was like, "Yeah, we should." Then a couple other people, like within the next few hours, reached out and was like, "Hey, do you still do that guest thing? I want to be a guest." And then I went, "We should make January big. We should feature guests. All of January, make it big." So I told Dinka this and my energy. Dinka was like, "Okay, great idea, huge undertaking." And this is a lot. I don't see us being able to fill these slots, but we'll see. We put out the link 2 hours after we put out that link. We had
It
like
was
9
crazy.
people signed up.
Yeah.
Dinka goes, "Okay, there's something here. Let's roll with it." And and that's just like,
Yes.
it just started getting the guests, and it was such a natural
Yeah.
progression. Again, community owners, you don't have to force it. Sometimes it just, you're
Yeah.
meant to get, and you
Love
go, "Yeah."
it. Yeah. I was doing spotlight interviews, and they were amazing. I was asking about that in human practice, like, hey, does anyone want to do an interview? And then we'll frame up the video, and you can use it for like promotional material, whatever, in your site and so on. And we did a bunch of them, and I'm such a terribly slow editor that I'm still editing these conversations that happened like early December. And I'm just trying to think about, like, I don't know, I wonder if there's a way. um I kept talking about, I still talk about this scaffolding that I want to build of like all of these communities that are putting good work in the world, that are here to do the things that people really are really desperate for relative to connection and growth and so on. And like, I wonder if there's a way, as other communities sort of take the cue, and like maybe instead of doing the one-to-one private spotlight interviews, I could do them as lives, but they could be a part of or an offshoot to the work that's happening here. I'm not sure what that looks like, but I just feel like the more we can bring our communities that are intending to do a certain kind of work in the world together and say, it's like a co-op, or it's, this scaffolding in the space is just a really beautiful opportunity to bring people into the places where the bridges exist. And maybe I say like, oh, I've really been interested in refreshing my understanding of my meditation practice. Now I know I can talk to Mark. Maybe I'm really interested in embodiment and abundance. I know I can talk to Benjamin. Maybe I'm really just trying to like chill the fuck out and stop driving myself so crazy about everybody else's standards. I know I can talk to Sissy. Like, these are the ways that I think we start to build the bridges that allow that like really opening up thing that you talked about, Brandon, and you talked about also, Dinka, to like happen, and for people to have permission. I think a lot of times people are like, is that okay? Like, am I allowed to take this? Am I allowed to do this? I'd like to try that. I'm like, yes, you have permission. You are invited. Do the things.
Yeah.
I
But
love
I think it's still important to put that in words sometimes,
that.
because something that I've seen happening more often recently is that I read a comment or a post somewhere that is really nice and valuable, or it's just beautiful, it's just like a nice story or whatever. And I usually ask those people, like, can you please post it in my community? And I start to see this happening more and more. As you know, before it was like, no, 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 you cannot put your thing on my wall because this is my wall. And now it's actually totally going backwards. And I love that because, we have different reaches, we have different members. So why not share something that is amazing? It doesn't have to be mine. I don't have to copy paste it. It's even better if the original author of that thought or story comes in and shares their wisdom. And they feel seen, they feel like they reached out to more people, and then my people benefit from that. So I really love that this is kind of hopefully spreading on Skool. And maybe we can do something like a series of talks that it's always hosted in a different community. That's
Love
like
it.
a group of people coming together, and it's like a movement in it. So that's always a different community that hosts it. So I would love that to have something that is kind of a series, but then there's slightly, we always mix it up. So yeah, I'm pretty
I
sure
love
there's
that. Like
going to be some
yeah,
collaboration.
like the traveling caravan of
Mm-hmm.
connections. Fucking
Yeah.
awesome. That would be amazing.
This is what I love about Skool, guys. The other day, Saturday on Life Coach Rob's call, he said something about, oh, Costa Rica is a blue zone. And
Mm-hmm.
on the call, I commented, I'm like, live like you're in a blue zone challenge, collaborations for schools everywhere, like things like that. And then Jacob messaged me after call, and she's like, that was actually a great idea. And we're
Yeah.
like,
Yes.
I'm like, those are the connections that are really made.
Yep.
And Stacey, what I've noticed since I've been on this call with you is you do something super important that everybody in this world right now needs. We have dopamine fixes all day. We're staring at our phones. We're constantly stimulated, but we're lonely, and we don't know how to get out who we are. A lot of us, and we just want somebody to see us.
Yep.
You make every single person you come into contact with feel seen. Earlier, my comments, again, I'll bring it up. You made me feel seen. Today, when you were just a minute ago, when you were talking about what makes school important to you, you mentioned everybody on this call in the room and why they make it special. I mean, Sissy and Mark, and you've been just bringing people up. You make people seen. It feels seen, and that's what we want. When I go, wow, I feel seen, I show more of myself.
Yes.
For bringing out more of people because you give us all of you. And that's what I'm getting from this call. And it's just such a beautiful thing. So thank you. I don't even know if there's a question in here. Just thanks for giving it.
Doesn't have to be.
Oh, thank you.
But this is why I wasn't going to, prepare questions, especially for this call, because I've already had the privilege of talking to Stacey, and I know that the most amazing stuff comes up in the unplanned and unscripted moments. That's where the little magic just appears. So I was sure that this was going to be no exception.
Aw, I feel so humbled. It's very kind. It's amazing when you're in the presence of greatness, and then like the greatness is like, you're great. And you're like, really? Thanks. It's so awesome. It feels very good. I want to be sensitive to time because I wasn't sure if we still had time to half past the hour or if we were just 1 hour. So I
All
want
right.
to ask.
She said,
We can go. We can go
Yeah,
till half
yep.
past.
awesome.
So no worries.
Yeah.
Wow, are you kidding?
We want
So
more. We want more.
one of the things that's come up lately, and I'll just be very transparent about it and see where it goes. Oh, actually, I had this other thought. I want to go here first for a sec. Kind of along the same lines of the things that we think we're not sure we're allowed to do out here or not. I also think there are a lot of rules about where you can share your community and what you're about and what you're doing in your community or what you're passionate about. One of the things that we did in the human practice, which I've seen other places also, and I think it's amazing, is to create just a section where people can celebrate and promote their stuff. So there's an always running category in our community where you can always share your stuff, whether it's your Instagram or your Skool or your um, Facebook website, outside business, whatever it is. And I think I've noticed that once people have opportunity to get comfortable with like sharing their passion, um, there's a much more authentic, this is why I love this thing I'm trying to do thing that comes out. It's almost like so many of the conversations we're having, people are feeling guarded against saying stuff about what they're most passionate about, which is why they're here. So we guard ourselves and we don't say, well, in the Trinity Code, if we don't really have clarity about the map, like, and you're wondering what your life path number is and what that means, like, come on and I'll teach you, somehow gets construed to like, oh, don't pitch your shit over here. And like, that needs to end. Because when it's really for the right reasons, and it's truly in an effort like this summit to help people to improve, to grow, to find new avenues to recognize their abundance and step into that space, we need to be able to do that. And so I want everyone in the human practice to unabashedly say, well, here's why I'm doing this coaching work. This is why I'm focused on parenting kids that have special needs. This is why I love the outdoors. This is what it teaches you. Here's how my work can help to support you in this thing you've just mentioned that you're struggling with. That's another one of the, sets of rules that I think we need to take down. Where it's possible. And of course, there are a lot of people that are still out here and will continue to be that are really about this foundation of financial gain. And that's okay. But the rules shouldn't be tailored, to sort of the protection against or preservation of something else. And I think that's also a philosophy in a lot of the work that I've done in my career is like not attending to what sometimes rudely called the lowest common denominator in a room, but really to like provide all of it. Like if this is your strength and here's where you excel, you get to go. Like go at your pace and go conquer the world. If you need a little bit of extra support here, we can do that. And it should be the case. It can be the case that this entire experience of Skool is tailored that way also. It just requires a little bit of like good criteria for who's a best fit for a certain community. I mean, I don't waste any time filtering out the people that are clearly there just to like make a buck. And they're graciously told this isn't the space for that. But then otherwise, everybody should be talking about the things that they're doing and that they're passionate about and excited for. Okay, sorry to go a little backwards for a sec. Any thoughts about that otherwise?
I do. You just created a tornado effect. Sorry, Dinka. This happens sometimes live. So the daily wins chat category is now the promote your community chat category. Something
Yeah.
we already do in here, but now you have a spot for it. And you
Love
guys
it.
what the tornado means in live
You just
form.
stole it on
Yeah,
the
I
spot
feel it.
shamelessly, right, Brandon?
It's awesome. I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. See, I feel like that's like a mic drop in the day. I can be like, no,
Yeah,
this is happening.
definitely.
What were you going to say, Dinka? Tell me.
I feel like it also enables people to, because there's some sort of a pressure that put on ourselves when we have a Skool community and you have to like rep yourself and like talk about what you do, and like how are you going to get like new members and sales and all that kind of stuff. So when that is done and it's out of the way, then you just get to be present and
Yeah.
enjoy and interact and just talk about stuff that just comes up, and you don't have to be like, oh yeah, I have to send so many DMs and I have to connect with so many people about
Yeah.
my business and stuff like that. So there's that. And it's almost like, how like in Japan, before you enter the room, you just kind of take your shoes off. So that's that. You took your
Yeah.
little sales shoes off, and now you can
Yeah.
enter this clean and welcoming space and just sit down around a table and have a chat with other humans and connect on a human level. So I think that's really genius, and hopefully everyone will steal that, because it's time. It's time that we break down these kind of concepts and walls. So
Agreed.
it's amazing.
I love that analogy. That is so powerful. That's so awesome. I love that. Yes. I feel that so much, because it's like, if I take it one step further, it's almost like I sometimes feel like, on account of not having the opportunity to do that, we're just like tracking mud all over our houses instead of being like, no, leave that outside and just come in. And so I
Yeah,
love
because you
that a
don't
lot.
know, what is this person saying this because that's their business and they're trying to sell me something, or is this
Yeah.
just genuinely their view or their opinion on that matter, on that topic? So I think
Yeah.
when you kind of separate these things, and then it's very clear, like this is where you put your little flyer on this cork board,
Yeah.
and this is where we are having fun over here, just like, hanging out. So I love that, and I really hope that this catches on. And so
That's awesome. I love that also. And I feel like, when you're doing something, offering a service or offering a product that's really good for people, and you know that it can improve their lives and their ability to really step in with fullness to what they're here for, there's no problem with saying, and this is what it costs.
yeah.
I mean, it's important to invest in ourselves. It's important to um, invest in ourselves, but also then to recognize, if we have something to offer that's valuable, it doesn't have to be so dressed up. It
Yes.
can just be, at the face of it, if you want to dig into XYZ thing, I can help you do that. And this is what it costs to engage. Want to? Great. Don't want to? Also great. And if you can't do it because of limitations otherwise, here's some free stuff that you can do. Here are some ways that you can get to some of what you're looking for. And there's no problem with that. It doesn't have to be so shrouded in all of this
Yeah.
other like bullshit and tactics. It's not
Yeah.
bullshit. It's actually highly effective. It's just that neurolinguistic programming is real. We can be terribly manipulative of one another. Um, and even without ill intent, that is an important thing to understand when we're engaged in doing it. It matters to our karma, frankly. And so it's very important that we understand that tactics that create persuasion and agreement are meaningful things that we do to one another. And so to be, oh, hang one sec. Love you, babe. So I think it's important that we look at that clearly, and that we look at that clearly, and we're able to say, I know that what I'm doing for the right reason, and I'm doing it in a way that I can stand behind and feel good about. And so, yeah, I think that work is really worthy of more dialogue and contemplation than just trying to make the sale. And we don't do that enough. I've actually thought a lot about how to create and foster some deeper levels of understanding about what that space looks like. So that may be something on the horizon at some point.
Yeah, and I also love that this kind of goes in the similar direction what Ro mentioned about dynamic pricing, for instance. I don't know
Yeah,
if you were on that
I
call,
was.
like $50 if for someone in the US is very different for, $50 someone in India or something.
Yeah.
So what are you prepared to offer in return for my services? How can we meet each other halfway? It doesn't have to be like, okay, I have this 10K month goal and I just
Right.
have to sell, 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 sell. How
Yeah.
can I help everyone? How can I be of service to everyone, regardless of how much they can, offer me in return? And as you say, free stuff or just meet them halfway, dynamic pricing, all of
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
I think that's actually where it's at. This
Yes.
whole kind of, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't track your progress and that you should look at your numbers, but like this kind of no, and each month I have to make more and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think that's what we want, or that's what's working at the moment on Skool. And then maybe there is, but I don't know. It's just not my personal experience. So
Yeah, I'm totally with you. And the energy of that, where it is working at this phenomenal scale it's great if that's, it works for people, many people, that's awesome. It's not what I'm called to. And so that's okay. I also feel, I feel very strongly that, it isn't just about dollars. So there are people in my community that are absolutely incredible, and I am learning so much. And I've said, can we just trade? I will mentor you in these spaces if you will mentor me in these spaces, and we just do an even trade. And so there's no exchange of dollars. It's an exchange of our experience and expertise, which frankly is much more valuable um, sometimes than the
Dollars
dollar.
are short term.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And so, yeah, I think there are many beautiful ways um, to uh, contribute and gain value. And I love that we're continuing to explore that. I think that's incredible. Um, I'm sorry, guys. Hang on for just one sec.
yeah, no worries.
Sorry.
We'll probably head into the uh, bottom end of this conversation here in a little bit anyway.
I'm just reading the comments in the thread in here as well.
Thanks, guys. You know what happened? I think Sean maybe left with Sarah's keys, and she needs to leave also. So there was like a chaos moment in the chaos moment in the kitchen. I think all is well. um, I was just jumping back to take a look in the thread. Also, did you see anything else there, Dinka? Are we good?
Well, you and Mark will have to do a DNA test because you might be related. I already kind of had the feeling. I think I had the feeling that you guys have a lot of things in common. So I'm sure there's going to be some more connecting after the call. And Mark is our honorary panel member as well. So I don't know if there's a question you want to ask Mark. It's tradition by now, so I'm going to allow you to just go ahead because why not?
Hi, Stacey.
Hi, Mark.
Hi. Well, I put in the comments, I had my original question was, your corporate job, what did you do and how did that align in? And then you immediately answered that question. Throw that one in the bin right now. My next statement was, oh my God, where have you hidden the mirror? Because, you are an almost identical DNA imprint of me with your background, your experiences, your corporate environment, the giving, the loving, caring, all of that it's uncanny. And I was just chatting briefly with Dinka about this, and she was agreeing with me. And I said, "Oh my God, it's uncanny," And when you use the word bullshit, I put in the comment section here at the side. That's my favorite word, and my French friends love it because whenever anyone is saying something, speaking, I just go, "Oh, bullshit." And they're all falling about laughing.
Bullshit is great.
It's just one of those international phrases that once they realize the light-hearted side of it, I was 20 odd years in China and in Asia in the corporate environment as you. And the other day we had a conversation, one of the speakers, I think it was Tim, were talking about corporates, and one of my colleagues in the corporate world, Fortune Top 20, was I was thrown under the bus by the CEO of our corporation.
Mm.
In this particular day, I haven't shared this before, and I'll go into it more on my talk. However, she purposely did that because she felt threatened
Mm.
by me. I was brought in by someone else
Mm.
to oversee and do some big things within the corporation.
Mm.
And she saw me as a threat and threw me under the bus by
Mm.
changing my presentation materials, cutting it,
Mm.
right back to the bare minimum. And
Mm.
then the global CEO sat me down that evening after my presentation, and we're in Shanghai, and he said, "Hey, Mark, your presentation was really cool, very good. However, did you feel, how affected did you feel it was in a percentage?" And I said, "I think honestly it was 35%." And he said,
Mm.
"Why?" And I said, "Well, because it was cut back so much."
Mm.
People have in the corporate world, the dog eat dog world, have been frightened to share.
Yes.
And it's always been one of my mantras and in some cases it's bitten me. I've seen better times, a lot better times than I'm having right now.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've always had that philosophy that, we have one chance at life. And if we give, we receive.
Yes.
And that's where the bullshit term comes in very, very
That's it.
strongly. And the other quick thing was during this summit that we were in Shanghai, one of the global people was saying, "Hey, in China, we're so worried about our corporate values, our IP, and everything else. We don't want to lose that in China. They copy, everything's copied." And one of the Chinese directors stood up and he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. We Chinese thought you meant copyright meant copy it right."
Oh my God.
It was just fantastic, and he said it with that
Awesome.
perfect tongue in cheek, was and it was like, Don't give me your bullshit." It was just
That's so
fantastic.
good. It's
So
so good.
thank you, Stacey. I've loved every minute of it today. Thank you so much.
Oh, what a pleasure to hear your voice and appreciate your messaging here. I want to go back for a moment, Mark. I think, having had the experience that you described, where you pour your heart and your mind into an opportunity to help people to shift or capture something of themselves or an environment and break out a bit from probably what's comfortable, but also what's standard. And you pour all of that time and intention into the build of material. And because of the nature of the work that we do and the way that we do it, how we've been trained, the experiences we've collected in support of it, it's always, for me, and I know our journeys are different, but I'm going to assume, and hopefully you'll confirm whether that's safe, that you have this aspiration. All of the hard work that goes into building a presentation for an opportunity, there's an aspiration that it's even outsized results beyond what its original intent is, and that there's something that clicks or something that goes on that has that even above and beyond impact. Is that a safe assumption?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100% true, yeah.
So then when you're faced with this experience where usually in my experience, it's usually someone who probably needs whatever is in that presentation more than most others, also has the authority to say, nah, trim it back, pull that out. It's going to go from 90 minutes to 60 to 30. Oh, I don't think that part's quite important. The practice part probably doesn't have to happen. Just tell the people what the thing is and
Yeah,
let's move on with it,
exactly that.
right? Yes. And then you're left with this compassion for that person that says, wow, you're so fucked up. You probably need this more than anyone else. And also, now I'm disadvantaged because you felt threatened and fearful and you're taking the opportunity away. If there is something that was in the top 3 things that eventually fostered my inevitable departure from the space I was in, it's a lot of that.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like, you can beat your head against the wall for a long time, and you can find those cracks in the marble and shine the lights in there, and that's wonderful. But I think once we're of a certain age and we're reassessing our values and our priorities for how we're living our lives, that becomes so tiresome that we want to just throw the doors open and let everyone who wants in to come on their own accord. And I think it's beautiful that you're here having this conversation, reflecting on those experiences and choosing to show up this way and to share that story. And so I just want to validate that experience and to say, I've been there, I understand it, and kudos to you for showing up continuously in a way where you're still willing to put it all in. And so
As
I
I
think
said
that's
to the guys
remarkable.
the other day, I thank you for that. And I said to the guys the other day, I think it was on Jack's call, hey, he's 21 years old,
Yes.
and his enthusiasm, his youthfulness, his drive, he's like a mini Brandon. He's a mini tornado,
And
but
we've teamed up.
Yes, there's something incredible coming
he's a mini
our way.
tornado in basketball shorts and a cap, And I'm a 65-year-old guy that's lived my life in medicine and corporate environments. And, at this point, as I said to the guys, I'm evolving, I'm rebirthing. This is
Mm,
my new life.
mm,
And this is where I'm happiest. This is
mhm,
where I can add value. This is
mm,
where I can give back to humanity some of my knowledge and experience,
mhm,
and the learnings that I've taken from Asia.
mm, mhm. Amen to that. I'm so glad. And what a remarkable opportunity. I mean, I just feel this tremendous sense of gratitude for the paths that cross and when they do. So to
Yeah.
have met you, to be sharing this experience, I just feel an absolute awe of the brilliance of creation and the universe and all of the influences, not excluding ourselves from it. I feel very, very grateful. So thank you for that opportunity. Thanks for
I
sharing.
think you
And
need to take DNA test just to be sure.
We need a nickname around here. Is this like Father and Mother Peace, or we need a nickname for these two people? But
we're the
before
bullshitters, Brandon. We're the
Yeah.
bullshitters.
the bullshit,
Brendan, we're all drawn in the same way to you guys, to you and
Good.
Dinka, I
That's
mean,
right. That's
it's
right.
this force, it's like the Bermuda Triangle
This is
in reverse,
human experiment. We just collect people, put them all together, and just watch with popcorn. That's pretty much what we're doing. So
Exactly.
working so far. So
we're like the
The best.
school. We're like the school equivalent to the island of misfit toys, and I'm here for it.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, that's wonderful.
so good, so good, amazing.
Mm.
Okay, but I think now it's really time for us to, start winding it down and get into our little final part of these amazing calls. So, as you probably know by now, I always draw a card for every speaker, and it's been so amazing, and this time is no exception. So, your card is the moon.
Ah,
Take note of intuitive messages. I mean, what do I have to add to that? I hope it resonates.
of course. Of course. It does. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, your intuition is your superpower, and I
Mm,
love that you lean into it so much. So yeah, thank you for being you, being the powerful mirror that you are, such as the moon,
mm.
so that we can see the best of ourselves in your reflection.
Thank you. Thank you, Dinka. Thank you, Brandon. Thanks for being here. For those of you who have joined today, and also anyone who's rewatching, I'm really grateful. Your time is your most precious commodity. So the way that you're spending it is really meaningful. So this is awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
My journey in life is improved in 90 minutes just listening to you. I have journal prompts written down. I have things that I was like, oh, like I can't thank you enough. I can't put it into words how special that one was. Thank you. And I
Mm.
always ask one final question to wrap these up. And the answers are so similarly different that I've loved it every step of the way. What does evolution mean to you?
Evolution, from my perspective, is allowing every version of ourselves to be welcome, to be appreciated, and to be loved, deeply, deeply loved. And so that's what evolution is to me.
That's
So
a beautiful
beautifully
answer.
said.
You didn't expect anything less. That's a
Exactly.
beautiful answer. Guys, give Stacey some love in the thread. Let's show people they need to watch this recording because
Oh.
whoa, that was incredible. And thanks for everything that each of you brings to this for us and everything you guys do for each other. I watched the comments, guys. You guys are making connections and it's really awesome. It's really special. We are creating a tight knit group in this forest. And I can't thank you enough. Have a great day. See you tomorrow on the summit. And I'll see you in the threads today.
All right. Thanks, guys.
You guys.
Take care.
Bye.